Family, let me ask you that question. Have you ever had moments like that? That because you're so used to living in chaos, that when everything is going good, it don't even feel right. Family, what's up? Welcome to another segment, another episode of the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to live your best life. And don't forget, every episode, and I do mean every episode, is information we want to give you to live your best life. We want you to immediately take the information that you've been given and apply it to your life for success. The ground rules we want to have on this podcast is always, and I do mean always, we want to be encouraging. We want to be uplifting. We want to be informative. The areas of life that we will be talking about on the Bacon Bits Podcast is dealing with having a balanced life, the juggling act of life. And I need to hear you say it out loud. If you're in your car, you in your bedroom, bathroom, you at work, you got to say it a little bit, quieter at work. But say it out loud, please, so you can hear yourself say it. Say valuable information applied equals success, fam. And what we're going to be talking about on this episode today is conflict solutions. Conflict solutions. Family, you are not living your best life if you are constantly in conflict. And we ain't talking about conflict just with other people. It's when you're having that inner turmoil, that inner conflict with yourself. Because the thing that is so bothersome to me, it's not the fact that, the definition of insanity by Albert Einstein, which said doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, it's insanity. What I want to say, as John Bacon, the definition of self-torture is knowing what you need to do in life and you're not doing it. Self-torture. You mentally know what you need to do, but you don't believe in your heart that you can do it. That is the conflict of all conflicts. That inner turmoil is crazy. Fam, that is the battle to me of battles. I'm a spiritual man, so I believe in my heart Satan has been defeated, so I ain't got to worry about him. The world could influence me, and that's possible, but I usually ain't too much worried about the world, but I got to be cognitive of what they're trying to do. What gets in my way is me, my flesh, me stopping me from becoming all that God intended for me to be. That's the inner conflict that goes on with me as a person, and more than likely, I guarantee it's for you too. So what we're going to do, we're going to break this thing down so we can deal with it. And we got 7 points that we got to deal with. And, let you know up front, this episode going to take a little longer than usual, but not that much more longer, maybe 2-3 minutes. But the first thing you want to ask yourself, if you got a pencil and paper, man, I suggest you pull over to the side if you can, and you got 20 minutes, you're on your lunch break eating, and you're taking these notes at the same time would be a phenomenal blessing to you. If you at home sitting down right before you go to bed, you hear my soothing voice and you hear the wonderful points that's coming out, man, get your notebook, pencil and paper, and get ready to write down. Get the pen. Get your phone and just text it to yourself. But family, here's the 7 points that's going to help you get closer to constantly saying conflict free. So point number 1 is ask yourself, is the conflict even worth it? Notice I did that dramatic little pause right there because I wanted to stop. Is the conflict even worth it, man? 50% of the conflicts that we get in our daily lives, including with ourselves, aren't even worth it. Should I wear a red shirt today or a blue shirt? Should I wear my Doc Martens or my dress shoes? Should the toilet paper be over or under? Do I squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom to the top or in the middle with the squishy part? Do I need to go down one street or another street, even though all the streets are going to help me get to my job? Family, sometimes we stress about stuff that ain't even worth stressing about. I love being on time, and I love respecting people's time. But family, as long as we get there, you got there safely. When you meet with me, I'm grateful. I want you to be all right when we having our meeting or whatever we're talking about. Make sure that you be all right before you leave my presence. That's important. I don't want to have unnecessary conflict in my life with nobody that I love. Man, do we need to have discussions? Do we need to have dialogue about some stuff? Yeah, man. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're not computers. We're not robots. We're not all thinking exactly the same thing at the same time all the time. So it's always going to be some little bit of friction up in there. But the question you got to ask yourself, like I said, this is including yourself, is this conflict that I'm getting in, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it? So soon as we find out that the conflict we are in is worth it, we go to the second point, which is stick to the point. Okay? Stick to the point of the conflict. It is so easy to get distracted when you are having conflict with other people and with yourself. It's easy to get distracted. Family, we live in a world that the number one thing I believe in my heart you got to be cognitive of is being distracted. Because, fam, if you're trying to reach your dreams and your goals, everyday life will get in the way. Because you got so much other things that you got to focus on that you can't stick to the point of, trying to achieve that thing. So there's a conflict there. I want you to be in that moment when you're with that person or yourself that you're having that conflict with. I want you to stick to the point. I don't want you to get distracted in that moment. So please be there and say, you know what, this is what we're really talking about. So I love thinking about the fact that when I'm teaching that at my job, I love talking about the fact that, man, when people are there and they're trying to get detoxed off the drugs and the alcohol, family, and you can use it with everyday life. This ain't just for drugs and alcohol, but I want you to think about family, sticking to the point. So when they come in here, the only thing I want them to be focused on is sobriety. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. So since sobriety is the main focus that we're supposed to stick to, that means everything has to revolve around the sobriety. Everything has to revolve around the sobriety. Man, somebody looked at me crazy, man. I'm leaving this thing, dog. Bro, what did you come here for? Sobriety. Man, that food that they had at the cafeteria, man, was nasty as hell, man. I'm leaving this mug. Fam, what you supposed to be focused on? Sobriety. Man, they ain't give me my medications when I wanted my medications, man. I'm leaving this mug. Fam, what are you supposed to be focused on? Sobriety. And so this could be used with anything. Some people, that you're trying to write your first book. You've been had the ideas, you just ain't sat down and wrote the book. You've been need to write need to sit down and write some songs. You ain't sit down at the piano or the guitar and getting ready to write, got your pencil and paper out. Some people need to go back to school. You ain't even got the catalog to sit down to figure out what it's going to take and what classes it's going to take to get this degree. Some people want to start their own business. You have not sat down and count the cost of what it's going to take. Remember, it's going to be worth it. But stick to the point of, I understand I still got to work a job, but I still want to work I want to start my own business. I still got to raise my family, but I got to still focus on starting this business. I still got to focus on my health, make sure I'm eating right, and doing some kind of workout routine or some kind of body movement. Make sure I'm getting the proper sleep, but I'm still trying to start my business. I got to keep my mind focused and sharp, on all the tasks that I have to do in my regular life, but I'm still trying to start my business. I still want to make sure I'm praying, reading my Bible, doing what I got to do. I still want to start my business. Notice the starting the business was the sticking point of what I'm trying to do. The conflict is I got to still balance all this other stuff in the process of me trying to start the business. And that's what can get us off course. So the conflict is I really want to start this business, but I got to stick to the point of every time I get some free time when it's possible, let me focus on starting this business. Let me focus on staying sober. Let me focus in on making this marriage work. Let me make sure to focus in on raising these kids. Man, it's easy to get distracted. Social media, man, it can be such a blessing. But man, that mug is way more of a distraction than it is a blessing. So sometimes you only can say, I can only spend 30 minutes, max hour on this mug, because if it don't, it's going to consume so much of my time. I ain't going to never be able to stay focused on the point of what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's what's causing the conflict in my life. So number one, Is it worth it? Number 2, stick to the point. Number 3, get to the root of the issue of the conflict. Get to the root of the issue. What's really stopping me from starting a business? Okay. What's really stopping me from leaving this job that I know I'm not getting appreciated and getting paid what I'm worth? What's really stopping me from pouring all of my energy into this marriage that I said I made this vow before God and this other person that I was going to really do all I got to do in this relationship? But I'm getting hindered. What is at the root of that? Man, I'm really trying to be there for my kids, but I'm getting distracted by trying to work all this overtime and trying to hustle and make this money so we can go do what you got to do. What's keeping me away from being there for my kids? The mismanagement of my money. Because if I take the money that I'm getting blessed with on a daily basis and I manage it correctly, most of the time that's enough so I can spend quality time with my kids. What is that thing that's at the root of the conflict that you're having? I'm not living my best life, okay? Well, I can acknowledge that. Let me get to the point of acknowledging I'm not living my best life, so I'm going to stick to that point. But what's at the root of that? I don't really believe I have what it takes to live my best life. There we go. We get into the root of it. You know, I'm dealing with this, situation with my addiction. What is at the root of the issue? Mismanagement of money. I didn't grieve the person that I really love. I got some anxiety and depression that I need to take some medication for, but also learn how to make better decisions. Is it chronic pain? There's always a root of the issue. I got to get to the root of the issue. It's not, when I talk about the drugs and alcohol, it's never the drugs and alcohol. It's always what's at the root of the issue. It's not that this person looks better than my wife or some man looks better than your husband. What's really at the root of the issue? Are you really giving that marriage all that you can possibly give it? Really think about that. So we got to find out what's at the root of the issue, because I'm not living my best life. I know I'm not living my best life. What is hindering me from doing that? I'm putting these video games, I'm putting social media, I'm putting all kind of stuff ahead of the real thing of what I want to. So there's some conflict there. Get to the root of that issue of whatever that thing is, because there's a root that's not associated with the thing that's blocking you from getting what you really want out of life. And in the process of finding out what that thing is that's at the root of the conflict, don't character assassinate or don't sabotage what's going on. Don't sabotage it. Don't sabotage it. Don't sabotage it. Family, I think about when I first met my wife. Lord have mercy. Man, ooh, I was in love. God let me know she was the one. On our first date, we talked about getting married. It was crazy. But family, 3 months into the relationship, we started bickering. We started having disagreements more than usual. And what was at the root of the issue? I had been married for 10 years and my wife had cheated on me, ex-wife, first wife. In the 10 years that my wife was married, her husband cheated on her. And what we ended up doing for a moment was casting what happened to us in our previous relationships onto us. So she thought I might do what her husband did. I thought she was going to do to me what my ex-wife did. And that's what was causing the commotion. The relationship during the dating process was so good that we was like, before I get hurt, I'm going to go ahead and sabotage it before it gets down the line. That's crazy. For some of us out here that's listening to me, fam, I know you've thought this before. Not all y'all, but some of y'all done thought this. Man, life is going so good, something must be wrong. What? That don't even sound right. I remember my boy D Bear. You know what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I'm going to send him this episode when I'm done. Man, my boy, when I first moved to Tucson back in 1988, I know some of y'all wasn't even born in 1988. Moved to Tucson. And I had called my boy and I said, D Money, what's up, boy? How you doing? He said, John, everything is going good. Something must be wrong. I was like, That's back when we had phone cords on the phones, so I'm old. So I shook the phone cord to make sure the connection was right. I said, homie, I didn't hear I know I didn't hear what I thought you said. Let me hear you say it again. He said, homie, everything is going good. Something must be wrong. Family, let me ask you that question. Have you ever had moments like that? That because you so used to living in chaos, that when everything is going good, it don't even feel right. Something is wrong, family, when that's happening to you. You literally got to think to yourself, this is a season of, life is lovely. There's plenty going on, plenty of love, plenty of money, plenty of joy, plenty amount of peace going on. Man, I'm going to enjoy this season. I may not know something must be wrong because everything is going right. Don't character assassinate. Don't stop yourself. Don't beat yourself up so bad that you're going to miss the opportunity that's going to come up before you. Why do I love talking about this? Because, fam, I just believe in my heart. We got a little less than 6 months to go before this year is over. And I firmly believe a phenomenal opportunity is going to come up for a lot of people. But we also in a very tumultuous season in our lives, especially here in the United States. And you got to ask yourself the question, when this wonderful opportunity comes up, I deserve it. I didn't earn it, but I'm sure going to take advantage of it. I'm not going to have that inner conflict of, do I deserve it? Do I not deserve it? Did I earn it? Did I not earn it? We ain't doing all that. This opportunity that's come up before you right now is one of the best opportunities that have ever happened in your life, whether it's a career, whether it's starting your own business and somebody want to give you resources and some connections, whether it's the person of your lifetime coming. Fam, do not sabotage this wonderful thing. Don't have that inner conflict where you beating yourself up because you don't think that you deserve what's happening before you right now. I want you to be ready. I want you to prepare yourself. So when the opportunity comes up, remember, it's the right person at the right time in the right place that's trying to give you the resources, connections, love, whatever that may be. Please don't self-sabotage it. Because this will be one of them times you'll look back over your life and say, coulda, shoulda, woulda, and it will literally make you depressed if you don't receive this opportunity that's coming up. So prepare yourself now for the opportunity to come up so that you don't character assassinate. You don't self-sabotage the opportunity that's about to come up. Fam. So that's number 4. Number 5, when you are having conflict with other people, don't mind read. Don't mind read. So what I mean by that is before you have the conflict, don't have the conflict in your head and then have the conflict with the person and have the argument with the person. Why is that? Because the reason why our society has the anxiety that it has, not all of it, but some of it, is sometimes when we have conflict with people, we try to play the conflict out in our heads before we even have the conflict. And I can guarantee you that 90% of the stuff might even be higher than that. Literally, the low end is 90%. 90% of the stuff that you thought was going to come up in the conflict didn't even come up in the conflict. We don't even know ourselves that good to be trying to predict what's going to happen. Less known trying to predict what somebody else going to say and what they going to do. We can have a ballpark figure of what they're going to do. But family, we don't know nobody that good, including ourselves, or what we going to do in the clutch. So don't go practice the argument or the disagreement in your head before you have the discussion. Actually have the discussion when it's happening in that present moment, and let's work this thing out. We're not fighting each other. We are trying to resolve a situation, and we keep our focus on the situation. We stick to the point and not be character assassinating and going off on each other and trying to mind read and see what each other's doing. So work on that. Don't mind read. Don't overthink situations when you in them. Just literally take your time. Talk about what's the real discussion is, the real conflict is, and don't be trying to read the other person's mind or what you thought they was going to say that you prepared for. Just go ahead and let it happen as it's happening organically. Number 6 is don't let the sun go down on your conflict. Going back to number 1, is the conflict we in worth it? So if the person that you're in a relationship with your mom, dad, sister, brothers, aunties, uncles, nephews, nieces, grandmama, granddaddy, husbands, wives, kids, a dog, and a cat, if the relationship is worth it, we need to resolve this before we go to bed. Now, when it's at its worst and we tired and it's late at night, we might have to agree to disagree, and then we'll go to bed on that if it has to end like that. But preferably 95% of the time, let's resolve this conflict before the day is over. We ain't supposed to be carrying out conflict for days, weeks, months, years. And it's sad to say some people have carried out conflict for decades. That is crazy to think about, because the person that you was in a relationship, if it's worth it, it's worth us resolving this conflict and getting back in love with each other and pushing that to the side, getting it resolved, pushing it to the side and keeping it moving. Because I would hate if you was in a conflict with somebody and the person that you love died and you never getting a chance to say, I'm sorry. That is one of the most painful things to happen to people. Man, I got people that literally I have to counsel every week, and I do mean every week. There were some unresolved issues with somebody that they love and they passed away. And that person is drinking and doing drugs to numb, to avoid, and to run from the conflict that needed to be resolved. They literally are trying to numb themselves, hide, avoid dealing with the issue that needs to be dealt with. And that's what ended up happening. And family, I don't want nobody that you love, that you say you love, to die and you never getting a chance to resolve the conflict. I'm talking about some of y'all, as you listening to this episode right now, on whatever day, whatever time is happening, there's a reason. Nothing happens by accident that you hear in this episode, that there's somebody that you love, that you have some conflict right now. You need to go resolve it. As soon as you get off this podcast, some of y'all can pause the podcast, go get the issue resolved and come back and listen to the rest of it. But you do not need to let the sun go down on that issue, because I don't give a care what y'all arguing about. It ain't worth neither one of y'all dying and the issue getting resolved. And the person that's still surviving has to deal with the hurt, pain, agony, guilt, and shame of what happened, that they ain't never going to get it resolved. And it's going to take you a minute to resolve it, because the person you needed to resolve it with is gone. Now we're going to need some therapy to resolve this issue with ourselves. So family, please don't let the sun go down on the anger. That's scripture. Go resolve those issues while you can, please. Last but not least, number 7, love keeps no records. Dramatic effect again. Love keeps no records. I like to say stuff 3 times sometimes. Love keeps no records. Now, what did I say? I said love keeps no records. I didn't say we didn't keep no records, because y'all know our memories is like an elephant. We don't forget nothing. So I'm using an analogy right now. I got my wonderful producer, Shay, that I love. She's right in front of me, so I'm going to use her as an example just so I can get my mind to get through this. So me and Shay, 3 weeks ago, we had a knockdown drag out. We was arguing about whatever. I told her to do the podcast this way. She said she gonna do the podcast that way. We was we was going off. And we resolved what we was talking about 3 weeks ago. And then me and Shay, we had an argument this morning before we started the podcast, and it went down like this. Shay said, John, you remember 3 weeks ago when we had that argument? You had on that blue shirt with them blue jeans, and you had them Adidas on, and we was eating a Big Mac with fries, and we had a Diet Coke, and you said, she remembered what I was wearing, what we had to eat, because guess what? She held on to that resentment from 3 weeks ago and brought it into the argument today. Family, how many of us are bringing some old info from past arguments and bringing them into the situation we are arguing about today? What's supposed to happen is, Shay, did we resolve that 3 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. Well, we ain't bringing that junk up into this argument today. We're going to let that stuff go. That's what's supposed to happen. We ain't supposed to be holding on to old resentments from hours ago, days ago, weeks ago, months ago, years ago. That's crazy. Think about it. So If we have unresolved issues, look how much you carrying that you were not designed to carry. These bodies was not meant to carry unresolved issues. They're not. It literally physically causes your body harm when you are walking around with unresolved conflict. How many of you want to do some self-inflicting pain on yourself by walking around being tortured by not resolving some conflict you have either with yourself or other people? And it's literally putting a damper on your health, mentally and physically. Let that stuff go. Let it go. I want you to live in this moment. And if in this moment you have some unresolved issues with somebody that you love, after this podcast is over, go and talk to that individual. Deal with the situation. Get it as best you can resolved. And let the rest of it go. Because you are not designed to carry around unnecessary stress, anxiety, and depression from past stuff that's happened. Deal with it right now. If you need to go get some therapeutic help, please go get some therapy. If you need counseling, go get some counseling. If you need some medication for your anxiety and depression, go get the anxiety and depression medication. But that don't resolve it. What that does is going to regulate your body chemistry, your mind, so that you can think clearly. But you still need to resolve that issue that needs to be resolved. Family, God got too much in store for you till you be holding up built up anger and resentment from your past of some stuff that's happened either to you personally that you've done to yourself, or some stuff somebody else has done to you, or some stuff that you've done to somebody else. Please free yourself up. Don't keep yourself in bondage and in chains, slaved into your own mind, a prisoner to your own mind. It's time to resolve some issues so we can walk around life free as a bird in our feelings and emotions, and in our minds and in our hearts. Family, I love y'all so much. Please resolve these conflicts immediately, as soon as you can, so that you ain't walking around with some coulda, shoulda, woulda resentment of some stuff you've done in your past. I love you guys. Please go out and live your best life. Don't just take this information and memorize it and be able to teach it. I want you to go out and be able to live it. This is your boy John Bacon with another segment of Bacon Bits. Love you guys. God bless. All right, what's up, family? It's your boy John Bacon from the Bacon Bits podcast. Thank you so much for your support, likes, and ratings. Please don't just listen, but rate me, follow me, and subscribe. This is an amazing way to offer free support. My beautiful queen and I have some books that we have written for your growth.
So the first book we have is a workbook, actually. It's called Healthy Relationships, and this is a workbook through the lens of faith. Because what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy? So this workbook is designed, it's a 12-week, it's a biblically grounded course, and every week has a few different principles. So if some of our principles, some of our topics that we're covering are respect, cultivating security. And this is not just between a husband and wife. This is between parents, between siblings, between friends, between your bosses, employers. So it's really important, and everyone deserves a healthy relationship.
And also we have The Balanced Life by John Bacon. It covers how to be prosperous in your finances, relationships, your health, your mind, and your spirit. So you can pick that up on Amazon, also on audiobook. And we also have
The Unraveling, a creative healing journal, pinings, poems, prayers, and ponderings of my precarious life. I've had a testimony of I've had 2 brain tumors and 2 brain surgeries, and I'm super grateful, but I'm still grieving the process of healing. And this is part of the process. In this book, you have devotionals, you have prayers, and you have some ponderings. And in between these pages, there's a space for you to also be prompted to paint and to create your own, or maybe you want to write something in these books. This is part of your creative healing journal that we get to walk through together.
And you guys can just head over to Kingdom Servants First. Kingdom Servants, the number 1 st.com, and you can purchase all 3 of these books. Thank you for your support, your love, and your contributions. God bless.